Yes, Carol, I can hear you. Hopefully you
Okay.
can hear me as well.
Yes, I can. I can hear you. So you're welcome, Mr. Kabiru, for the second session of the mentorship session in the investor readiness and market access. So the floor is yours. Karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Carol. Let me put my video just briefly. Can you see my video? Perhaps not. No idea what's happening. Yeah, but thanks, Carol. Good to meet everyone once again for the second time in this mentorship class. Where we continue to learn and to engage in the spirit of helping you grow your businesses. And most importantly, at least for my sessions, to really support you to be investor ready, um, which is something that I know Mount Kenya Hub is quite interested to see that most of the enterprises that comes through their program get that support. Yeah, the last time I was here, we did actually deep dive on financial modeling, and I'd want to believe the session was very helpful to you. And perhaps you're already using some of the ideas, suggestions, and metrics that we did actually discuss to actually push your business to the next level. If that has not happened, perhaps for the reason that we have not been able to share the slides, my sincere apologies for that. We should be able to coordinate with the Mount Kenya Hub team so that you can be able to get that and you can push it. You can try to use some of the templates that we have in that PowerPoint. So today we continue from where we stopped. And mainly today we will be looking at the different financial scenarios that you need as a business. And this will actually go back to speak to something that we have previously done and on pitch deck, how to do a pitch deck. There's a that part of financial ask where you need to actually give a financial ask, and that financial ask it doesn't come from nowhere. It is actually informed by some process that needs to be done before you actually get there. So today we'll be looking at that, and even as we look on that, we'll be asking a question: how come our businesses are not scaling? Or if they are, why is it that they're actually taking time to do that? What are some of the constraints that businesses face? And how I wish that we can actually have this as a conversation, because you know better why is it that your business is not actually scaling. And it's through those constraints that we will reflect back on what now we are calling the financial scenarios that you need to do. Yeah, so that's the intention of this session. And yeah, once again, very good to those who have joined now. And yeah, happy to be here. If it's okay, maybe we could start. Let me share my screen. Tell me if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Slides. Okay. Previously, we did look at financial model. I've talked about that. So today we'll be looking at is to understanding and communicating your constraints to growth. We'll also be able to look at different financial scenarios to increase investor interests. But to start us off, let's start with understanding and communicating your constraints to growth. And maybe I would start with a question. How do you feel about your business growth to date? I don't know how long your business has been. At least for some business, I know it's more than 2-3 years because I interacted with you. I don't want to believe last year or last year, but what when we first started this program of Pink Hawaii. But I would be curious from then to date, do you feel happy with the progress, or do you feel perhaps if there are some constraints that were overcome, you would have grown your business? So curious to hear. Maybe I will point out to individuals. Just tell us how long your business has been there. Uh, when you look at growth projection, is that what you had actually envisioned? And then you could tell us what are some of the constraints to growth. And constraints here are some of the things that are blocking you from growing, or some of the needs. Yeah, I'm sure we understand what constraint means. But yeah, curious. Let me see. Let's make these as interactive as possible. Let me stop sharing. Good. Wacha nianze na mwenye ninaona kwa my screen. Maureen Van Green, when did you start? Are you happy with the progress? What are some of the constraints, if any? Yeah, Maureen?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Maureen from Van Green, and we do manufacture charcoal briquettes. We started in 2023, and now we are like 3 years down the line. We'll be turning 3 years on August. And I can say when we started, it was a challenge because we had to do a lot of product testing and identifying the markets and doing marketing and creating our clientele. So far, we've been able to grow our clientele over the years, and which is good. But now, as we are growing, we are facing constraints in terms of growth, as we need to expand our production site, we need to expand our machinery, we need to expand our scope, and also we need to meet the demands for the orders that we are getting. And also, yeah, some other constraints that we've been facing is transportation, as we've also been transportation for the briquettes, which has been also quite a challenge. So we are facing challenges when it comes to growth, because we also need to buy maybe our own means of transportation. We also maybe need to increase the number of employees that we have, because right now we are delegating more tasks to the few employees that we have. And yeah, I can say those are some of the challenges we've been facing. And also financing for growth. It's been challenge raising funds for growth. Also, it has become quite a challenge. But yeah, so far we are bootstrapping with what we have, and working with the sales that we are making. And yeah, I can say that's where we are at the moment.
Yeah, asante sana Maureen. Yeah, very good points in terms of the constraints. The business has been there for the last 3 years. You feel it's that point where you need to grow, but there are quite a number of constraints that are blocking you. Yeah, I think that's good. We'll come back to that later. Yeah, so let me go to Kelsey. Kelsey is here. She was actually the first one to join. She dropped. Okay. Who else is here? It's very hard to tell because they had all these AI note takers. Collins, Coril.
Okay, my name is Corit Collins from Farm Life. Our company has been in operational for around 5 years now, and we started small. And one of the challenges when we started for was about financing, and also we deal with smallholder farmers. So at first, due to low finances, we couldn't reach most of the farmers. But after getting some funds from Terra Fund, we were able to expand and reach most of the farmers in Nakuru County and most of the other counties. So at the moment, I think we are progressing well, but we still need after we got the export license for the avocado, we got the KEB certification for our yogurt and mursik. I think that was a major milestone for us since we can now sell our products countrywide and also export the farm produce from the farmers, that is the avocado. But we still need some finances for expansion since we still need to expand, and also we are targeting to buy a avocado machine that can make oil from our county, since we can't make oil at the moment. We just need to go and sell somewhere else. So there's a bit challenge for us at the moment. Also, we also need to add some more personnel so that we can expand our coolers for the milk so that we can open some other branches in different sub counties. Yeah, but I think we are progressing well at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, Collins. Very good. Maybe you said now you want to expand. Um, my assumption is you want to expand now from maybe processing oil,
Yeah, we want to
academia.
do value
Yeah.
addition for the avocado. Since we already did value addition on the milk, we also want to do value addition on the avocado so that we can manufacture avocado oil, maybe on our site or nearby. Yeah.
Okay. The constraint here is the oil processing machine and personnel, right?
Yeah, since we need to expand. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is good. Maybe you could be brainstorming around, assuming the oil machine came, what is it that you're going to see in terms of growth? Um, Assuming we did overcome this challenge of the machine,
Okay.
yeah, just be brainstorming. I'll come back to that. Looking at the
Oh,
constraint, access to finance to do all this, what then happens? And that's what we're actually going to do today in terms of the different financial scenarios. But yeah, let's go to who else can I see here? Caroline Mwangi. If they're not ready, we go to Ohani. Ohani. Okay. Margaret 10. How long have you been in business and what are some of the constraints to growth, if any? You guys can hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Okay. Oh, honey, Margaret. Let's make this as interactive. It's from this that we're actually going to learn. So the question is,
Madam.
how long? Hi, how long have you been in business? Are you feeling there are some constraints to growth?
Uh, yes, for Ohani,
Mhm.
we've been in business for 3 years. And maybe the constraints we are facing is lack of capital to expand our apiaries because that's the main thing that we need to be able to produce honey and also other hive products. We are also trying to get the right certifications for the export market, which is also a bit a challenge. And also adverse weather conditions also affects the business, as honey production is seasonal. I think, yeah, that's some of the challenges that we face.
Yeah, thanks, Ohani. Margaret, I want to believe this is Franson. As you do that, then we can also have Wanjiko.
Hello. Thank you, Kabiru. So the major constraint we're having at Fransons right now is delivery. Delivery is quite a challenge for now. We are also having challenges in planting tubes. We are trying to look for ways where we can get biodegradable planting tubes, because the moment we are having challenges with disposing them, even when we take the trees to the forest, it's becoming kind of hectic, but it's something that we're trying to work on, and also delivering to different parts of Nakuru. And currently we're having projects with some CFAs, but we're having challenges delivering, so that's the main constraint we're having for now. And also, due to demand, we are trying to expand the tree nursery to a much better place, positioning, and also more land for leasing, more land for expansion. I hope that answers the question. Thank you, Samuel.
Yeah, it does. Thanks. So these are very good points. How long has the business been?
Around 10 years.
Okay. Good. Wanjiko? How long has the business been, and what are the constraints? What of it, Isaac? Yes, Wanjiko.
Hi Kabiru, I'm currently in Amatatu. Can you let me text?
Yeah, hamna shida. What of it?
Good evening.
Good
Motorfeeds
evening.
has been business since 2017, and so far we have scaled through the different challenges, especially of getting the market coverage. So the only concern now is maintaining the market that we have, because there are so many emerging trends in the fodder community. You see, like, there's the introduction of the silage. So catching up with those new trends and trying to explain to the farmers the importance of adapting to these new ways of feeding their livestock is where we are currently on, and also maintaining the market presence. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, constraint from a market perspective, I think that is very important. And yeah, thanks everyone for sharing. The purpose of that exercise is really trigger the need for conversation around how do you get to know what to ask to investors. And what we are saying is that if you don't have an idea what is keeping you away from that next move in terms of growth, then it is possible that you'll not be able to convince investors to be able to fund you. And we are going to see that when we are doing the different financial ask scenarios. Again, you knowing what are the constraints, it helps you even know what investment your company needs to actually prioritize. I have heard that people need to expand production sites, linking that to Franson. I think that is in terms of expanding your nursery as well. There are other concepts like transportation, which again resonate with delivery. There's this one on increased number of employees and all that. So there are quite a number of constraints. And the question is then, how do you prioritize what is actually important? So it is very important to have scenarios, for example, where you're saying, I'm willing to hire additional staff. And if I hire additional staff, then this is what is actually going to happen. I'm actually going to hire, or rather, I'm going to buy transportation, and this is actually going to happen. So you go back to your financial model and be able to try to play with the maths right there, and it will help you. So it's important to start from a point of knowing what is that is actually hindering your businesses. It is good that we have shared some of these things. And maybe if I asked you a question, have you been able to analyze correctly that whatever you have mentioned here, that's what you want? Many a times I have seen businesses doing kind of like jerk reaction. You're quick to react because something has actually happened. And a very good one is on employees. Because you feel your company is growing and you feel your team is stretched, you quickly rush to hire. And the question would be, have you been able to analyze the situation to be able to say, now I really need to hire? I'll give an example of a friend. He runs an entertainment joint, or rather, let's call it a restaurant. And one Sunday, it happened that he did actually ask one of his marketing staff to just go around the table and be able to speak to the employees. And I happened to be there, and this marketing person came to our table and asked us, are there any issues? Do you feel anything that needs to change? And I remember we had stayed there for quite some time, and our order was not coming through. So tulijipata tumeka, and that was one of the complaints that we gave. So this person went almost in all tables asking the feedback. And I remember when the person was coming to share with the owner, I was there. So what this marketing person told the owner is that many people have actually complained about their orders delaying. And so the owner asked, what do you think is the problem? And so the marketing staff said, before I came, I talked to the ladies who are serving, or rather the people who are serving. And the people, what they said was that they overstretched. Yeah, they are saying they are actually overstretched. So and hence why the order is actually draining. So who is being overstretched here? So the person was asked, and the person was quick to say, actually, the waiters, they are overstretched. And this guy then asked, what do you think? Can we add people and employees? And the other person was quick to say, yes. I think on weekends, especially on Sunday, we need to add somebody, a few people to actually help with serving. And I was actually seated there next to my friend, and I was asking myself, is that really the problem? And they almost agreed to onboard, I think, an additional 3 or so people. But I remembered in school, I learned something around the law of diminishing return, which, if I can recall, it was mainly looking at adding more action and receiving the same or expecting the same results. Yeah, ni kama mtu anasoma those days in boarding school, unaamka 5 a.m., unaweka miguu kwa maji, but still you'll get the same grade. Yeah, so you find a additional input but same result. So in this case, I resonate with the same, because here we are adding more input, which is more employees. And I know somebody like Maureen, you have said number of employees need to increase. I think also this is Farm Life also said we need to increase our personnel. And I think somebody else also did mention. So the question is, have you thought through the process in a manner that you understand the business? Because you can actually add people, but you find you're actually going to expect the same results. In this case, for my friend, I was very curious to know, is it that the kitchen walitoa order and they are lying where they are supposed to be collected, and the team is not able to deliver? Because this person reported and said, actually, the ladies who are supposed to deliver are the problem, and we need to add because they feel overstretched. But I asked my friend, I think it's good to confirm whether chakula inatolewa inakaa inagojea watu ndio ipelekwe kwa meza, or there is a bigger problem, because you may find that you don't even need to add more personnel to the people who are serving. Maybe the problem is the kitchen in terms of how quick they can be able to process different orders. So this triggered my friend to think of this law of diminishing return. And before he could even make a decision, he was able to engage the people concerned and just ask the questions in terms of what really needs to happen. So I wanted to point out at that sometimes we may assume we have constraints, and in any case we don't. So it's very good to actually analyze those, and more specifically where there is input. So before you add any input, ask yourself, what is the expected output? Yeah, what is the expected outcome? Because where you find is the same, then hapo kuna shida. So let me reshare my screen. But is there any question or any experience that you might have had similar to my hotel friend? And maybe looking at you, Maureen, do you feel convinced that if you add the personnel, you expect different output?
For now, within Nakuru, I feel that the personnel you are working with, also with the help of social media, it's working. We are figuring out how to work smart and use the resources that we have. But if we expand to other counties, I feel that maybe we can add more personnel or use distributors for our products to distributors, last mile distributors.
Yeah, totally understandable. I have already spoken to this. Yeah, equally, I think I have spoken to this, that is important to identify your constraint to growth, which will help you identify the type of financing you need. And maybe to emphasize on this. So when we talk about the type of financing, I know we are talking about the likes of loans, grants. We are talking about equity. For more advanced organization, we are talking about the convertible debt, where in the first instances you're given as a debt, and maybe should it get to a certain point, it's converted to equity. So depending on what the different constraint that you have, then this helps. Yeah. If you're in the tree business, if the constraint is something related to how long the trees grows, you may want to approach maybe an equity investor, because their fund it's quite a long term and you don't have to repay. So yeah, you have mentioned the different types of constraint to growth. I like what Isaac did mention, most of it in terms of market coverage, maintaining the existing market. And I think this is speaking to constraint around customers, where we are saying I need more clients, or say I need to maintain the clients that I actually have. Yeah, so very, very, very important to think around constraint around customers. The other one is on production capacity, and I think Ohani did allude to this by the fact that you mentioned expanding the apiaries and also hive products. Also, if I got it right, this was also mentioned by Farm Life. And here it's in terms of access to more farmers. Yeah. Yeah, so production capacity could be a constraint. And yeah, Maureen, I remember you also mentioned like this, that you need to expand your production site and also capacity. So it's a constraint that most of you resonate with. The other one is on raw material supply. You're in avocado business, you need supply. You already know that you can actually process 2 times of this avocado, and many a times, as Farm Life you have mentioned, this can actually be a constraint. Yeah. And you have said that before Terra Fund, you are not able to actually access many farmers. Yeah. So that's a constraint that one needs to be aware of. Something else that you need to be aware is that constraints to growth can actually change over time. Yeah, so today you are here with a production constraint. Tomorrow, Farm Life, you have been able to buy the avocado oil machine, and production capacity becomes something of the past. So that has already changed. But good to mention that while that has changed, it comes with a different constraints, because, and I will give an example, there is an avocado company that I supported access to investment. Actually, we got about it was about 27 or so million. And the idea was actually to buy a machine, a processing, I wouldn't call it processing, it's a more of a packaging because it's mainly fresh fruit for export. And we did that. We bought the machine. And at that point, I remember we had actually done a projection, we had done financial model up to the 5th year, and you can't believe it. The margins and the profits were so good. I remember me telling the person that I can see in the 4th year, you're able to afford me and I'm actually going to come. So, well, it was good. We increased the production capacity. It came with the different constraints because what happened with this company is that, yes, we bought that machine. That machine, assuming the previous machine they did have was to process 2 containers per week, this machine could actually do double of that or even triple. So the other constraint that came was actually access to raw materials. For them, it seemed very easy because avocado, they are all over. But little did they know that to get to some threshold, they actually needed to set up a very good outgrowers model, or rather a very good supply chain model in that they can actually get the right raw materials, or rather in this case, avocado, so they could actually get. But that is what was ideally what was envisioned, but whatever was actually happening after they got the machine was totally different. Because what happened was, number one is what we said, they added the input of the machine, but the output remained the same. So you would find they would not do more than 2.5 containers. And mind you, this machine, number one, you needed a bigger space to put it. Number two, you needed more staff to operate it. Number three, in terms of power consumption, is quite high. So it brought together different constraints where instead of it being a blessing, on the flip side, it became, I wouldn't want to call it a curse, but it was a liability, because as they continue the cash flow, they did not have the cash flow. You remember in the last session, we said cash flow is very important. So you'd find they are straining to have the right cash flow because, number one, they are trying to buy as much as they can so that the machine is fully utilized. On this other side, the rent, it's high because they have moved to a bigger space. They have more personnel. So you find ilikuja na mashida mingi. And what happens if your cash flow is not right? Then you start to struggle. So this company continued to struggle. At some point, we did approach another funder. They were able to receive around 65 million, but still, this could not, we did not manage to keep the company afloat for the long time. Why? Because there was a constraint and they were not able to identify it. It took them more time to realize what is happening, and their problem was actually the growth in terms of the machine that they had actually purchased. So what happens? It got to a point where they need to dispose machine. And by the way, if Farm Life, you want that machine, still it's available. But now there is a problem to it because they are more advanced machine right now than what they actually have. So you realize nobody is actually willing to buy that one because they would better buy an advanced machine than what they have. So my point is that it's good to be aware that our constraints to growth will always change over time. And you need to be careful in terms of what you do in addressing the constraint. You should always walk ahead of the curve and ask yourself, yes, I have been able to address this. What are the other likelihood? What are the other potential constraints that are going to arise from this? And am I ready to actually handle them? So here, just going back on the constraint to growth under customers, and maybe the question why we are saying customers here is because we always say customers is key, and customers comes with market. And we normally say market is very critical for any successful business. I don't know whether it's this group that I told of a story of this company that collapsed. Yeah, or rather, maybe you have heard of this story before of an egg company. They were actually processing eggs, and this company collapsed due to a number of reasons. Number one, the employees were not paid well. Number two, you'd find the production level went down. The other one was mismanagement of funds, corruption. The other issue was marketing. So it was a dysfunctional company, and they decided to hire a strategy person to come and help the company actually grow. And when they actually hired, so the person came on board. So the story normally asks, if you are the strategy person that came on board, where would you actually start? Yeah? And the correct answer is always first start by fixing the market. You first fix the market before you actually go to address the other issues. Yeah, and why here? When we're talking about constraint to growth, most businesses do not grow because number one, you have constraints around marketing and sales. Your products are not able to go, and this could be because of a number of reasons. I know, Maureen, you did mention about when you are starting on product testing. I would want to believe when you are starting, this was actually a constraint. So product research and development was a constraint, and that can be addressed by doing more of research and continuing to do product development. The other one is understanding your target customers. Yeah? So again, a very important item to address constraints around customer. And I think we have discussed this before, that a business exists to address a specific problem, yeah? Or rather, we say entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is identifying a problem and solving it, yeah? So in this case, when we talk about understanding your target customers, there are people who are actually in business, but rarely do you know which customers you're actually serving. And I think a story is told, and maybe I don't know whether this class has gone through business strategy by Kenya. Kenya would actually give you an example of Aramis. And the Aramis story is about how Aramis grew in the market. So Aramis inakuwa imechorwa kang'ombe, and how we know Aramis, for some of us ambao wametoka mashinani, watu wa Mogotio na watu wa pale Subukia na Molo can attest to this. Mara mingi tunaitumia kwa kukamua, and we know that. But something interesting happened. I can't remember the year. At the factory level, they saw there was quite a lot of demand for RMEs, and it triggered more production. But even as they were producing, the marketing team was curious to understand why is it that our product is moving so fast? What is it happening? So they wanted to know. Wengine walikuwa nasema no, wakulima ng'ombe zimeongezeka, or rather maybe watu wanakamua mara mingi. But when they did the research, they realized that most of the customers wenye walikuwa wananunua ni ladies. Ladies were actually buying RMs. Na maybe tuko hapa na tumenunua. If you are here, feel free to drop in the chat that you have bought. So walikuwa na wakajua hivyo, wakajua kwamba the ladies ndio wananunua ile RMs sana. So what did these guys do? So what they did was they relayed that information back to the production team. And what the production team did was actually to change the branding. So they changed the branding of RMs, wakaweka picha ya msichana. Na vile waliweka, wakaileta kwa market, but they realized something was not adding up. Kwa sababu from the story is that the sales went down, and when they did their research, they realized ladies have stopped buying. Why? Because what these guys had actually done is they had changed their target customers. They did not understand why their customers was actually buying this product. So, and many a times, even for us, you're there, you are making briquettes, you're doing very well, and then all of a sudden the sales drop. Why? Because you did not understand why I'm buying. Perhaps I was buying because sio kupika. Maybe I was buying because I want to warm my cage for my chicks, or I'm buying it for warming my house, or something else. You need to understand why is it that your customers are buying it. If you are around a high school and you are selling kerosene when tulikuwa high school, na inasonga na hii shule inanunua, you really need to understand why is it that they're actually buying. Those are questions that you really need to ask. Whenever you get to understand, then it's much possible to actually increase your sale. So for the RMEs, they realized that the ladies were actually buying it because of the perceived benefit that it actually had. They thought because this one is being used kukamua, the milk under, so the same would actually happen to them, so it will keep them moisturized all through. So it's important to understand your customers. So when it comes to asking for investments, when you're doing your financial scenarios, then investment here around customers will be around sales team onboarding, rebranding. I like the question on certification, and also you can actually use it for advertisement. Constraint to growth around processing capacity, and I know this was actually mentioned. So here we are saying this constraint might be addressed by machinery purchase, truck purchase, production, process and research and development. I know there are many people who have said they would want to buy trucks for delivery. There is some people who would want to buy machinery purchases as well. And when you're asking for investment, those investment could actually go to some of these things. On raw materials, because again, this was mentioned. So this constraint might be addressed by involving more smallholder farmers. And I think we have seen this from Farm Life, where you are saying initially you could struggle to get to more farmers, but now you're able to access more farmers thanks to an investment. So when it comes to addressing this from an investment point of view, then you can actually add this as something that you're actually going to invest in. The other one is you need to engage the community as well. And the other thing is actually getting your current providers to produce more. So in terms of the investment, we are saying that you could ask money for community trainings. The other one is developing case study and other informative items. The other thing could be incentivizing community participation. The other one is front-loading production. So maybe subsidizing inputs so that the farmers can be able to produce more. Yeah, so investment benefits. So what we are trying to say is that for each of the identified investment categories, you should be able to estimate the intended outcome of the investment. You remember we have said input versus output. So very important that even as you try to address some of these constraints, it's always good to go ahead of the curve and ask yourself, what is it that I'm actually expecting? And don't forget about the law of diminishing return. If there is no increase in terms of outcome, then you may want to reconsider your actions. Yeah, so all this will definitely feed into your financial scenarios, and financial scenarios here, I did talk about it's more of when you're asking for money, you need to have the different financial scenarios, and hopefully time will allow us to do, yeah, we can actually do it. So different financial scenarios, but let me pause, allow me to pause here and check whether there is any question or contribution. Maybe not question, but does this resonate with you? Dennis Chariot? Okay,
I think,
George.
yeah.
Yes, Dennis. Yeah, go ahead, and then we can hear George. Curious to hear whether this resonates with you.
Yeah, it does resonate to us as farm life. That's yeah.
Okay, George Greencomb, does this resonate with you? George? Okay, Maureen?
Yeah, it resonates with me.
Okay, Peter? Any experience with some of these constraints?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, it resonates with me.
Okay. Good. Let's continue. I'll take the next few minutes to take you through the different financial model, and this goes back to the slide on financial ask. Okay. Yeah. So when we did the pitch, there was that part where we have the ask, and the fact that we are a growing business company, would be nice to have the different financial scenarios. I have seen people ask me question in terms of, I'm here, what I'm looking for is maybe like 10 million or 20 million or so. But here comes an opportunity. They're actually giving, say, 5 million for 10 million. How am I supposed to present my ask? And if I'm not wrong, I remember sometime back, Ohani was actually pitching. I can't remember whether it's UNICEF. And I remember myself getting that question in terms of how do I present this. So the best thing is that we advise is have different financial scenarios. And this actually increases investors' interests. Yeah. So the idea of building a financial scenario for us started with a member in an accelerator program that I manage. And we did actually see him get funding. And he lived to actually tell the story. And let me give you what happened. So the fund, the one that was actually applying. So number one, this is a company that is doing essential oil for export. So what this company did was, the fund was actually funding up to a maximum of 500,000. And so his pitch did actually have the different financial scenarios. One was for that 500,000, but the company was actually looking for more than that. Actually, they wanted, say, if I can recall, was about 800, 850 or so. And what happened was the pitch they shared was with 500, what is going to happen with the 500, and then what is going to happen with 800, 850K USD. So we are talking about 60 something million then, and around 100 million then. So what happened? So we shared this with the funder. And when the funder was actually going through, when they looked at the business, they were more inclined in terms of this business getting to 1 million, because that way they felt they're actually going to leverage their money even more. So what happens? This essential oil company was actually invited to negotiate, not for the 500, but for the 800,000 USD. So from that, it's when we thought, why not tell people to have the different financial scenarios? Because it shows your company growth, and who knows, an investor may be interested to finance your business. So each financial scenario is a different ask level associated with different line items of investment and different expected business outcomes. So what are the three different scenarios that we are talking about? Number one is the dream scenario. So here we look at, if you get all the money you want, what is it that you can be able to do? The other one is the second is the pared down. So here we are looking at more of medium. What is it that you can accommodate from the dream? For example, let me take, say, Van Green, Maureen, you want working capital, you want to increase your employees, you want to increase your production, you want to increase your transportation. You have been able to list all that, and maybe it's coming to around 50 billion. So that's the dream scenario. But the question is, what is it that can be somewhere in the middle? Yeah. So you go down and you say, for now, what is important, and I think we did discuss earlier in terms of prioritizing your constraints, is you say, right now, I want to buy a transportation vehicle and I want working capital. So you have that. And then the other thing is, what is the easiest? And I think this will go mainly for some of these opportunities that would actually pop up. And here is whereby you go to the easiest items you think you can actually get financing. Like, let's say tomorrow Mount Kenya Hub say we are going to give you small grants. And I think the last time I checked, something was to be there. I think a competition or something for some specific amount. So the question is, what is it that you're actually going to put? I'm sure whatever you put is not the dream scenario. So we have those dream, the second, let's call it medium, and then we have the easiest. So why the three scenarios? So investors invest at different levels. Getting some money may be better than no investment. The other one is, with only one scenario, investors may think that a smaller investment may not improve your business. And I have seen that where some of these big companies, they apply for funding in my organization and they're asking for 500,000. At times we feel that it is too small amount to actually make an impact to their businesses. So this is how you build your scenario, and maybe this could resonate with some of you. Because I know most of you are saying you want a processing machine, you want a truck, you want working capital, and somebody is saying you want to construct a warehouse. So normally we start from where we are, so the current situation, and in that case, and also good to mention that when you're doing the scenarios, also show us what is the impact. So you need to choose the KPI. I don't know whether we discussed last time. What is that indicator that you actually want to show? In this case, we have been able to select annual revenue and annual profit here, but this could change. You could maybe mention here number of units. You could also have something, for example, number of jobs created. You could have here number of farmers. You could have here number of seedlings. So the different impact matrix or KPIs that you want to identify. So here you start with the current. You have the KPI in terms of what is it that it's happening. So in this case, they're saying expected revenue is about 100,000. Let's take this 100,000 or even 1.5 million, yeah? Whichever, let's call it 100,000. That's what you have. Replace 2022 with 2026. So the dream scenario, you're saying you want a truck, you want a processing machine, and you indicate how much it's going to cost. You have working capital and you want to construct a warehouse. So you put all that. So in total for your dream growth, in terms of what you need, it's coming to around 250,000. Then you ask yourself, if I get 250,000, how much am I going to make in terms of annual revenue? So you indicate here. And in this case, it's 250. Expected annual profit, 35,000. Unaweza niuliza, where did we get this 250 and 35,000? So you remember we talked about financial modeling. So you're able to see your financial projection until some point. So there you are. And then you go to the medium scenario. Here you say, I cannot do without a truck. For the processing machine, I can start with a small one of 50,000. And for the working capital, I can do with 20,000 and then a total of 90,000 in total. So if I get 90,000, expected revenue will grow to 200,000. And in terms of expected profit is going to go to 20,000. And then you go to the bear scenario where you're saying, let me just have a truck. For example, Franson, you said delivery of seedlings is a challenge. If this is your financial ask, you can actually say, ni sawa tu, nimeona nyinyi hamuna pesa, mimi nipeeni tu truck, mimi nitasaidika. So what will mean is if I invest 30,000, I'm going to get 150,000 in terms of revenue, and expected profit will be this. So if I'm the one to invest here, assuming you shared this with me, I'm able to look at how do I leverage my money? Because if I'm giving you 30,000 and you're doing 150,000, but if I do that 3 times, you're going to get 200,000. So you can imagine with 30,000, you're going to get more money right here. So my money is going to leverage or catalyze more growth. So I may decide to do this. I have seen examples of organizations that have done this. There is one company we financed recently. It does honey. So this company is a bit small. I think they are doing about 5 million, 6 million Kenya shilling. And for us, we are only able to give maybe above 50,000 USD, so call it maybe 6.57 million. And they applied for the full amount. What I saw happen is they were asked to do a different scenarios because we were feeling if we give them the full amount, they may not be able to repay the money that we're giving them. So we asked the guy to actually do a scenario, and you'll be so surprised that they actually used this template to be able to share with us, where they said, I'm going to expand my equipment. This is the dream scenario, now the 6 point something million. And this is the medium scenario. These are the expected. And we ended up actually giving them, I think, almost medium of this. So this something that you could use, and we are going to see examples. So how to build your scenario, consider your constraints to growth. You remember we talked about that. Identify a list of items you'd like to invest in that you believe will bring you growth. Start with the dream scenarios with all the funding you wish. Go to the bear scenario with the minimum investment to help you reach a new level, and then create a middle scenario. So dream, bear, katikati. And here it's a good example. So this is a template we'll share with you. You start here, you go with your dream. We have seen this example. So you go with your dream. From the dream, don't go to the medium, go to the bear scenario, and then you go to the medium. That's how you do it. And then now the question comes, then how do you put it? How do you put this in your slides? Yeah. You could have a slide for each scenario. So you create one. The other one is put the numbers and investment items on the site. and then describe verbally how each level will help you out. So there's an assignment here that make your ask your slide, share it with the group, and we will not do this because of time, but this is an example of how you can actually present it. So where you're actually saying you want to invest in cold storage and what this is the expected impact. So people can actually see here delivery track for this amount, and this is going to save us this per month. Nursery with 100,000, this is going to increase. So this is one way you can actually present. This is another one, and I think when we were doing pitch, you remember there was this. So let's see, is there a comment? Okay. So this is another way that you could actually do. So your ask is 250 in investment, will double income to that. And then you list in terms of what you need to buy and how much. Yeah, so that's the different ways. Or alternatively, you can actually maybe have it in such a form. Yeah, you can also create a similar one with the right KPIs. Yeah, so that's about how you present your financial model. And this one is actually addressing the constraints that we initially did start with. Yeah. Yeah, good. So I don't know whether there is any question. And maybe I'd be curious also to hear your experience. Oh, honey, I remember, I don't know whether you're the one who went to pitch last time to UNICEF. I'd be curious whether this did apply to you, but also curious to hear whether you have found yourself in a scenario where you need to do financial scenarios and ask. Oh, honey.
Yes, it was us. And yeah, we've found ourselves in scenarios where we've had to prepare different scenarios.
How was your experience? What was actually happening? Was the fund bigger than what you were asking or smaller than what you're asking?
The fund was bigger than what we were asking. Yeah, so we prepared two financials to be able to fit. Yeah. Yeah, we are still awaiting feedback.
Okay.
For that specific application, yes.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and we hope it goes on well. George, I know you have a big dream. And maybe George, we could speak later. Find time we connect for something different. But yeah, curious, George, whether you have found yourself in a similar situation where you needed to have the different financials, or is this something new?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Samuel. Yeah, of course, we had some scenario. We are applying for the funds from Nature Fund. So we had to submit different financial status. But unfortunately,
the funds we are asking.
I'm struggling to hear you, George. I don't know whether it's the same for everyone.
Sorry. I'm having a challenge with my network. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, as I was saying, we had some scenario when we were trying to apply for the fund from Nature Fund.
Yeah.
So we had to submit some different financial status, but unfortunately, what we were asking for was bigger than the funds, and also our revenue was not able to meet the standards from the funding or from the investors, so we were not able to receive the funds at that moment.
And did you present the different financing model the way we have said? You have the bare minimum, which perhaps would resonate to the fund that you are applying for, the dream and the medium. Did you present that way?
No, for us, we just presented the dream one.
The dream one.
We didn't present the medium.
Yeah. And do you think that was one of the reasons perhaps why you did not get, or you feel they did not give you room to present that?
Okay, I think that one was the reason why we did not meet the funding target, because now for us we had that dream scenario, but we did not give them the medium scenario. So I think it was the big reason for them to decline our application.
I can imagine, and it resonates with me because I have been involved in small grant together with the African Union, and you find we are giving 5,000 USD grant, but normally we would actually ask a question: what is the investment asker? How much are you asking? So you find people, we are giving 5,000 and you totally know that we are giving 5,000. But what happens? People wanakuandikia hapo 20,000 USD, 23,000 USD. And sometimes we wonder, nini, what is happening? And I don't blame anyone, because that's your ideal kind of funding. But how I advise people who come through me for application is try to have the different scenarios where you are saying, actually, if I get 5,000, this is what I'll be able to do. If I get 10,000, this is what I'll get to do. And when we go to do the evaluation in terms of the ask, sometimes we disqualify people because we are saying, huyu hata kumpatia 5,000 ni kama kutupa hii pesa, because it will be a drop in the ocean. But you find this big company anakwambia, yes, I'm actually earning 50 million Kenya shilling, but with 5,000, I'm going to buy a farmer's dehusking machine for macadamia. Anakwambia, mkinipatia 5,000, I'm actually going to buy about 10. And what will that mean is I'm going to reduce the time that they're able to dehusk the macadamia. And with this, I'm actually going to get even more quality macadamia. Quality will actually increase by 80%. Unaona? Already huyo mtu amekucommunicatea something. So even for us, be able to finance such a person and even follow up. It's a very good story to tell. So the different scenarios really helps. But yeah, Maureen, I know you have actually been pitching, but I would be curious to hear from you whether you have found yourself in a situation where you needed to do different financial scenarios? Did you do it? Or are there instances you are rejected and you feel if you had different financial scenario it would work for you?
I can say when we were starting our company, the first year we had not done financial audits, and and we were able to pitch to an organization, but they were like, we cannot work with a company that does not have audited accounts. That was one of the challenges when we were starting the organization. And also, and maybe we didn't have enough financial documents. We were not keeping proper records, so it took time for us to get there to have proper financial records, so that at least we can start getting recognized and even getting to some of the finals for these competitions for funding, and even getting to sit with investors on later stages of the company. Yeah. But yeah, we've been the first year was really tough for us in terms of
Yeah.
getting rejections because of our finances.
I can imagine. Maybe a question, Maureen, at the moment, do you have like the different financial model? Financial scenarios in terms of the ask?
Or the different financial scenarios in terms of the yes, we do.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you do. How many?
For now, I didn't have the medium one. Maybe I have the dream one and the realistic one. I'll work maybe on the medium one.
Yeah. No, I think
Yeah.
it's important. Yeah. Farm life. I know you guys receive money from Terra Fund. And I'm not sure you got exactly what you are looking for, but curious to hear whether you have the different financial ask scenarios, and whether there are situations where you missed an opportunity or got an opportunity because of having the financial model, the financial scenarios. Colleagues?
Okay, for farm life, when we were applying for the Terra Fund, whereby on cohort 2, our financial ask was way high than than what they gave us. So even at the moment, we're still pushing for more funds from them, but we got something since our financial ask was way bigger than what they could give us. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have the different financial scenarios?
Yeah, we do have different financial scenarios at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Also, we are also we are also pitching for other different investors, whereby if we can get a grant or a loan. So we are at the moment we are still pitching for other investors to bridge that gap of our budget and of our financial ask and what we had at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. There are some people who haven't spoken. Peter and Yvonne. Curious to hear from you. Do you have those financial scenarios, the dream and maybe the medium? And then have you been in a situation whereby you needed to have the different options, Yvonne?
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Okay,
Yvonne.
I've not in such a situation before.
Yeah.
Okay, and currently I still have only the dream scenario. Maybe I start working on the other two.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Yvonne. Peter.
Hello, Samuel.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. For us, we had a challenge at one point when we were we were trying to source or to raise some funding from African Development Fund. So, but we were able to get funding, switching to the other financial scenario.
So it helped. It helped having the different
Yeah,
financial scenarios.
actually, yeah. If we could have just one, it would be another case.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. And maybe a question to all of you. Yeah, the financial scenarios in terms of the ask is good, but curious to know whether in terms of the KPIs, the indicators of change, pale chini, whether played also a part, where you're saying the dream ni 10 million, but hiyo itanisaidia to grow my company here. And then the other scenario, somebody mentioned realistic scenario ni hii, that it would be able to help me maybe reach out to X number of smallholder farmers. Are there instances where those indicators really mattered? Are there instances where you are called upon? Let me see. Who else is here? George? Okay. Yeah. Collins, maybe just close for us. Are there instances where those indicators like number of smallholder farmers, you talked about TerraFund, did they look at such things? Also, Margaret, feel free to mention whether you have also been having that experience. Maybe let's have Margaret and then Collins, you can close for us. Margaret? Okay. Collins, maybe you just share those indicators like number of smallholder farmers, number of trees, jobs, did they really matter in terms of change for the different scenarios?
Yeah, the number of jobs, the number of trees planted, and the jobs created, whether we managed to engage more women and youth led on organization, they really mattered a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Certainly they do matter and they need to keep changing. Something I would actually caution you is let it be informed by the financial model that we spoke, because the instances where you'll say, if I get maybe 5 million, I'm going to support, say 1,000 farmers. And then the next scenario, you're saying 10 million, I'm actually going to support three or even 1 million farmers, or my revenue is going to grow quite high. And as an investor, I'm looking and asking myself, what magic is going to happen in between here that will actually make this company get to this? And that's something I have realized people are not aware. Your company for the last 3 years has actually been growing, say, with 6%, 5 or 10% growth. And then all of a sudden, you see in the third year, it's actually going to grow with 50%. So the first thing we normally ask ourselves is what magic could actually happen that had not happened previously that your company is going to grow to that. I know we are giving you money, but what is it that is going to make that shift all the way. So be careful also on that as well, so that you don't over promise. So let it be informed by the financial model. Yeah. So I don't know whether there is any question. Otherwise, happy to stop here. Yeah, maybe in our next session, we can discuss about some etiquette of managing businesses, like how well do you know your numbers? If today I asked you what was yesterday's sales, if I ask you last week what was the cash in balance, would you know? So we'll be looking at key performance indicators from a business etiquette point of view. But any question? Otherwise, I pass it back to you, Carol. Asante.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kabiru. I think it's good that you can all unmute and give him a hearty clap, kindly, guys. Coffee, Kwanko. Thank you so much, Mr. Kabiru, once more. And yes, I can see some clappings. Yeah. All right. So thank you for everyone that has joined the session today. And I must say it was quite educative and engaging. Yeah, Korir can agree with me and the rest of you, I'm sure. So thank you again for joining. So unless there's anyone that would want to give a parting shot, otherwise we do this again for the next session, in the next session. Anyone? No, okay. Right, so I think we are good. Thank you so much, Mr. Kabiru, once more, and the rest of the team. You do have a lovely evening, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.